Hello, Tallahassee. I'm student meteorologist Chandler Prue with FSU Weather. With your overview, well, we see sunshine, sun setting over Doak Campbell, perfect conditions unlike yesterday. Really got that nice redemption. Current conditions, 48 degrees, so we're right around, well, we're below average, but we're right around comfortable in my opinion. However, talking to some Floridians, they say otherwise. You see that north-northwest winds coming out of the, well, they're at 12 miles per hour, so pretty brisk. Look at that radar, it's pretty clear. And the conditions, well, temperatures 40s across most of the area until you get into Perry, which is at 50. And those dew points, well, they're right around the 30s for most everyone, except for Tallahassee and Bainbridge. And for tonight's forecast, 30s and potentially a little bit closer to 40 on the coastline. And tomorrow's highs, well, 60s. But talking about that overview, we'll talk about severe weather for Thursday, some sunny weekend conditions, and talking about how cold it will get. So now FSU weather starts. Let's go.
Well, happy Fat Tuesday. Mardi Gras celebrations are getting underway with their COVID consciousness this year. Unfortunately, can't have the biggest bash this year due to the pandemic, but temperatures would also be crashing the party anyway. We're seeing a lot of cold Arctic air moving its way into portions of the lower 48, dipping as far south as portions of the Gulf of Mexico. We saw snow covering the beach in Galveston last night or the day before, I believe, and that is a very rare sight. I don't remember hearing anything about that since I was a little kid, you know, first getting interested into the meteorology for the first time. So it's definitely been quite a while since Galveston has seen snow on their beach, and quite a while since we've seen power issues across much of the Central Plains right now. A lot of cities in places like Kansas, Oklahoma, into Texas having to conserve power right now because there are a lot of power shortages due to this cold, record-breaking Arctic air mass that has moved its way all the way down into portions of Texas, if you can believe it or not. And that's kept conditions cool across much of the country. We're seeing a lot of places dip below freezing, a lot of ice, winter storm events. A lot to talk about today as we get into our national forecast later on. But some of that cold Arctic air is even moving its way into portions of our viewing area here in the Florida Panhandle in southern Georgia. So Chandler, we're going to take a look at that really cold air starting to move into our region now and what that means for our week ahead.
That's right. We got a good shot today. Pretty below average temperatures and I would say pretty comfortable conditions. However, if you didn't have a jacket, it might have been a little brisk for you. Well, we'll look over this nice, beautiful, picturesque view over Doak Campbell. You can barely make out Doak Campbell because of the sun. However, I like that sunshine. You know, we didn't have that sunshine yesterday, so it's great to see it finally. And well, our current conditions, we're at 48. We could be colder if that sun wasn't out, so I'm appreciating it. And we have winds coming out of the northwest at 12 miles per hour, so making it a little bit brisk, a little bit uncomfortable. Make sure you have a jacket if you are out currently. And we're looking at our almanac. Well, we were a little bit low for today. We only got up to 45 degrees. We're usually, or 54 degrees, excuse me. We usually get around 68 as our average. And for our low, we got around average with 42. We didn't make it to towards those records of like 24 as our record set back in 1905. But hey, we still got a nice little blast of cool air. Those current conditions, 40 across most of the area, the exceptions being Apalachicola at 50 and Perry at 58. And looking at those dew points, well, it's also dry, so cold and dry. That's great conditions. You can see basically 30s across most of the area, 29 in Tallahassee, and 28 in Bainbridge. And satellite and radar, well, it's pretty clear. We see some little bit of radar clutter. And to our north, you can see maybe a little bit of showers above Enigma. However, here in our viewing area in the Big Bend region, we are clear. And you can see that, well, upper level water vapor kind of reflects that clearness. This shows clouds. Well, we don't really have that many clouds, so that's why we're in this dark, almost brownish area. To our north, though, we do see there's some clouds present. And over the next 24 hours, we'll see some clouds making their way into our viewing area around 6 p.m. tomorrow. That reflects a potential rain on Thursday, and also a severe weather threat, which we will talk about later. And for tonight's forecast, well, 30s across everywhere, and upper 30s across the coastline, low 30s once you get inland. So if you do have a potted plant or something that would die in the frost, take it inside. For tomorrow's forecast, 60s across most of the area, and tonight, get down to 33, clear and cold. And tomorrow, up to 63, so nice, enjoyable conditions. We'll warm up. And for the week ahead, well, it'll be about the same for tomorrow as we were today. And, well, we'll have some severe conditions on Thursday and lingering rain on Friday before things clear up on Saturday and Sunday. But now I'm going to hand things off to Tyler, who will talk about the southeast, make that little bit of a zoom out.
Thanks, Chandler. Here in the southeast, we have very different conditions depending on where you're at. All the way to our west in Little Rock, you guys are down to 17 degrees today and cloudy. So very cold conditions, and the same can be said for the states of Louisiana, Alabama, and Mississippi. And once you get into Georgia, that's really where you see the big temperature gradient. Atlanta is down to 29 degrees right now, but Tallahassee, we're still at a fairly warm 48 degrees compared to our western cities. And then once you get down to Florida, that's where the warmth really starts to take place. Really, one of the few warm spots throughout the entire country right now is Florida. Orlando's at 68 degrees right now, Tampa's at 61, and then Miami is at a rainy 77. And really, these dry conditions that we saw behind the cold front are still persisting throughout much of the southeast. Very low dew points to our west, and even in Tallahassee, we have dry conditions. We've seen very sunny skies for the most part here in Tallahassee, so it's been a great day overall. Then once you start to move into the peninsula, you start bringing some moisture back into the air, and then where we're seeing some rain in Miami, they have very high dew points, very close to the actual temperature, actually. Their temperatures are 77 degrees right now. That dew point of 74 degrees is indicating that there's quite a bit of moisture there, which is helping to fuel the rain falling from the sky. And a lot of the dry air that's taking place in the southeast right now is because we have a northerly flow. So we're bringing a lot of dry continental air down into the southeast to keep those dew points pretty low. But once you start getting into the Florida peninsula, the winds start to bring some moisture off from either the Gulf of Mexico to the west or the Atlantic Ocean to the east. So you're seeing a lot more moisture down there, especially since they haven't seen the cold front be able to push all the way down through. For the satellite and radar for the southeast, mostly clear. You see in Georgia, just some slight showers moving through to the east into southern South Carolina. Really, most of our rain is located in South Florida, right along Miami, and other cities nearby, seeing some rain. And the upper level water vapor showing those higher, colder cloud tops, which is usually a pretty good indicator of whether it's going to rain, or at least if they're going to have cloudy conditions in the region. So for tonight, you're going to see those temperatures stay pretty cool for Arkansas, Louisiana, really pretty much every state except for Florida. But even then, Tallahassee is going to be fairly cold at 33 degrees. Jacksonville also at a cool 39. But once you start moving through the peninsula of Florida, you're going to start to warm up in Orlando and Tampa, and especially Miami. And here's tomorrow's forecast. Start to warm up a little bit, especially if you're in Georgia and Alabama, but still pretty cool in Little Rock. Now I'm going to pass things off to Riley with the national look, where things are even colder.
Yeah, well, Tyler, when you say it looks like things will warm up a little bit, that is something a lot of people across the country right now want to hear. Look at these current temperatures. Extremely cold, frigid air. Those purples and pinks, you can barely be outside without getting frostbite quickly in some of those areas. Only 10 degrees currently in Bismarck. A bone-chilling 9 in Kansas City. Even down in New Orleans, where they're usually celebrating Mardi Gras this time of year, only at the freezing mark, 32 degrees. So a lot of cool temperatures. If you want to get in on that warm weather, you're basically one bet in this country right now is Miami, or if you consider 61 degrees warm enough, LA might be your bet. Now, dew points across the region, this shows the temperature at which precipitation would fall, and you'd start to see water vapor condense into that liquid water. And we can see those are very low temperatures, and these are well below zero in some places like Bismarck and Minneapolis. And that just indicates conditions are very dry out there. Not only are they cold, but you're going to want to apply that extra layer of chapstick in much of the Central Plains right now. And even in portions of the East Coast, getting in on these low dew points. Those greens in portions of the southern Florida Peninsula is really the only place in the lower 48 where we're seeing any moist atmosphere right now. And that even itself is going away right now due to this cold front that is pushing through the region, getting through those extreme southern portions of Florida, and that is going to dry things off even as far south as places like Miami. And that's also what's bringing some cooler air into the Tallahassee region again today. But look at this, guys. We have a lot of low pressure systems bringing snow. One right here brings snow in portions of the northeast today. That other one is out in just over Texas, bringing a lot of snow in portions of Dallas and Oklahoma. Our friends out there at the University of Oklahoma do not have class tomorrow because of this snow. So a lot of fun for our meteorology friends there. And these high pressure systems really indicate that polar sinking air that's really keeping conditions cool over the central portions of the country. Upper level water vapor, these blue and white areas indicate some higher cloud tops, keeping conditions a little bit more moist relative to the temperature there. Our one real dry spot right now is where we just had the cold front push through portions of Florida last evening in those darker blacks and oranges, where we're really seeing drier conditions, and that is somewhere you definitely also want to apply some chapstick. And speaking of drier conditions, here's our drought monitor, and we can really see a lot of places in the desert Southwest are in desperate need of some rain right now. Unfortunately, doesn't look like much of that is on the way right now. And our future radar shows we have snow that will be moving through portions of Texas, Oklahoma, and then here comes the severe weather threat for tomorrow. Portions of New Orleans, Louisiana, and Mississippi and Alabama could be getting in on a slight chance of severe weather. Tonight's forecast, very cold, especially across central portions of the country. Only 3 degrees in Minneapolis into the day tomorrow. We are going to see temperatures warm up, but not too much. Really, if you want to get in on that warmer weather, Florida is the place for that, Chandler.
That is right. Let's talk about that warmer weather. Well, it's been pretty cool today. However, we will warm up. Looking at that sun, it's finally starting to set. You can see the pretty awesome conditions, actually. You can really make out that sunset. Oranges and darker blues once you get away from the sun. Doak Campbell, obviously, off in the distance. And we have current conditions, 48 degrees, sunny, with winds coming out of the northwest, making it pretty brisk at 12 miles per hour. And looking at those temperatures, well, 40s across most of the area until you get into Apalachicola and Perry. Well, you guys haven't seen the cooler temperatures make its way yet. However, we look at Bainbridge, man, they're in the low 40s, already getting close to 30s now. And well, we're looking at those dew points. They're also pretty dry, meaning, well, we have those dry and cold conditions. And like Riley said, we do need to apply that chapstick because, man, it is pretty uncomfortable if you're not used to this kind of weather. And obviously, being in Florida, well, most people here probably don't love to see this. And we're looking at those winds. Well, winds coming out of the northwest at 12 miles per hour in Tallahassee. And around the area, we have a little bit more moderate wind conditions, 6 in St. Mark's, 9 in Quincy. And looking at that radar, well, it's clear for most of the area and until you get up into Georgia. So we're pretty awesome and sitting pretty chill, but we see those clouds start to roll in the next 24 hours, signaling that potential severe weather threat that we have on Thursday. Like Riley said, the severe weather is in New Orleans for tomorrow, but whenever we look at Thursday, well, we'll probably get on the action as well. And looking at tonight, well, we'll be into the 30s, 33, clear and cold with winds at 8 miles per hour, so make sure you bring a jacket. For tomorrow, we'll get a little warmer than we were today at 63, so enjoy it. because once we get into Thursday, it'll be a pretty rainy and severe weather day. So this is basically your best option until the weekend, where we will cool down. Like I said, well, we'll enjoy the weather tomorrow, and then it'll get nice and rainy on Thursday, and potentially some severe weather. So stay tuned for tomorrow's episode, as well as later on in the show. We'll continue to emphasize be weather prepared. But we'll have some lingering showers on Friday, a pretty good cool down, and then into Saturday and Sunday, well, we'll have drier conditions. However, it will still be pretty cool until you get to Sunday and into Monday. But now I'm going to hand things off to Riley, who will talk more about severe weather and
look at that threat for severe weather on our Thursday here in Tallahassee, as if what we had for our day on Monday was not enough for our viewing area. It did have some nasty tornadoes move through the region, especially in portions of southern Georgia. Definitely want to take this severe weather safety really into account as we head into another severe weather day for our day in Thursday here in our local area, even for the day tomorrow, seeing that, as I said before, in portions of Louisiana, Alabama, and Mississippi. So speaking of this severe weather safety, we want to talk a little bit about where you may see some severe weather, and where you're usually going to get that is along a cold front. And along a cold front, we do have in front of it a lot of warmer, more southerly airflow, because cold fronts are usually on the southern side of a low pressure system. And if you know about low pressure systems in the northern hemisphere, they rotate counterclockwise. And if they rotate counterclockwise, on the eastern side of it, you're going to get southerly air. So the air from the south is towards the equator, which is warmer. It brings warmer air farther north. But on the back side, on the west side, and the back side of the cold front technically is where you get a lot more of the air from the north, and that cools off temperatures. So the cold front is really the dividing line between the warmer temperatures and the colder temperatures. And that also has a significance with the wind shifts. As I said, you get more of that southerly air in front of a cold front. Behind it, you get some more of that northerly air, and the dividing line is that cold front right there. So along this cold front, you do get a lot of convergence, and when air pushes against each other, the one place it has to go is up. And when it goes up, it starts to make some pretty gnarly looking clouds, guys. We see, and the stronger that updraft is, where the convergence is strongest, you get higher cloud tops, and you get pretty much stronger storms with those. And sometimes those storms can be tornadic. When you look at a radar image of a tornadic supercell, we pretty much look for that tornado right here in what we call the hook echo. And in that hook echo is where you do see a tornado. And if you see this on the radar, you know you definitely want to get underground and take some shelter. So we're going to hand things off with Tyler. And Tyler, we do have some severe weather in Florida's forecasts, and you have a look at the Sunshine State.
Yep, that's exactly right. In Miami, we are seeing some showers move through the region right now. The rest of Florida at the moment is not quite so exhilarating, but I think most Floridians will take that, considering really all the rain and thunderstorm activity we had, at least in North Florida. And it looks like finally the sun's starting to come back outside, which is a much needed thing for us Floridians. In Tallahassee, at least, we've been dealing with cloudy skies for pretty much the entire past 7 days or so. So currently in Tallahassee, we're 48 degrees with sunny skies. As that sun continues to set, Gainesville even warmer at 63 degrees and sunny, although looks like it just went to nighttime for them. Orlando 68 degrees, and then as we continue to move south, those temperatures continue to warm up. West Palm Beach, a very comfortable 78 degrees right now. And there's quite a moisture gradient here in Florida. As you start to transition from North Florida into Central Florida, the dew points start to pick up a lot. So pretty dry in the north part of Florida. Once we start to move through Central Florida and South Florida, that's where you start to see some more moisture pick up, especially once we get towards West Palm Beach and Miami, where we're seeing some rain move through the region right now. And up a lot of water vapor, just showing where some of those higher cloud tops are at. So this is where you're going to see cloudy skies or possibly even some rain. So we're seeing it move through Miami, and a lot of it is off the coastline as well. You can see a lot of those showers right there to our east. But North Florida, pretty clear right now. Central Florida, seeing some partly cloudy skies depending on where you're at. And then South Florida, seeing scattered showers depending on where you're at as well. Miami is really the one city that's seeing most of that rainfall right now. But it's starting to go off the coastline, so almost all clear for you guys. So let's zoom into North Florida. Once again, not really much to see. Central Florida, you're seeing some scattered showers off to the east of Lake Okeechobee, and then moving down that I-95 corridor, you can see most of the showers and thunderstorms have moved off to the east of Miami. But to the north along that I-95 corridor, still seeing some storm activity there. So over the next 3 days for Miami, expect those rain chances to drop as you go through Thursday, but for temperatures to stay pretty warm, especially once you get to Friday. Going to have a high of 85 degrees and a 24% chance of rain. Moving up to Tampa, a little bit cooler, but those rain chances really start to pick up on Friday. Those temperatures start to get a little bit cooler again at 71 degrees. Once you move up north to Orlando, going to be warmer than Tampa, but have some similar rain chances. By the time you get to Thursday, you're going to have 85 degrees to your high with a 35% chance of rain. Jacksonville, pretty cold tomorrow, but going to get warmer on Thursday. Pensacola, you guys are going to be in the 50s, get down to 49. Here's your tonight's forecast, and then for tomorrow, going to start to warm up for most of Florida. Now I'm going to pass things off to Chandler at the desk. He's going to talk about some FSU sports.
Absolutely, yes. So for our first game that we're talking about men's basketball. The men's basketball team actually just played Virginia, and, well, they dominated them, man. They won by over 20 points. That's pretty impressive, especially considering Virginia was ranked just in the polls as well, actually higher than us. So beating that team is just a great start. And so talking about the weather for Virginia Tech, which is another huge important game for us, well, we'll be at about 54 for 12 o'clock, and then we'll rise steadily to about 57 by 2 p.m. Hopefully we'll rise steadily in the polls. We'll keep on rising, man. But for now, we'll look at sunny conditions as well for tomorrow. So really just cashing in, or Saturday, excuse me. We're really just cashing in on that beautiful weather. It will be a little cooler, like we talked about. Those conditions will cool down a bit for the weekend. Now, talking about women's basketball, man, they're doing so good. But they they'll actually have a game during the storms with, temperatures 64 degrees at 6 p.m. and will lower down to about 59. Hopefully they don't lower in the polls. Hopefully they actually continue to rise as well. But as you're going into this game, make sure that you use precautions. Make sure you stay weather alert. Keep an alert system on your phone, and just make sure you stay weather aware. But transitioning to baseball, we'll have another game on Saturday. That will be at 2 p.m. Conditions, again, we'll be cashing in on those beautiful conditions on Saturday. And then going into Sunday, we'll also have another women's basketball game. They'll be playing number 3 Louisville. We'll see if they can upset them. And the conditions for them that time, well, 60s as well, so very enjoyable, awesome. But we'll talk to Riley now. So Riley, how are the current conditions in Tallahassee?
Well, it's nice to see as we're getting back here to baseball season. It's that time of year, guys. We're getting closer and closer to spring, closer and closer to kissing winter goodbye. Just like we're kissing the sun goodbye right now, not really seeing much in terms of sunlight, a beautiful sunset here over Doak Campbell Stadium. Now today we were a little cooler than average. We just did have that cold front move through our region yesterday into last night, which kept temperatures cooler today and conditions drier. So we didn't quite get to that 68 degrees we usually do, but pretty close to our 42 degree average low, which is, if you ask me, not some good news. I like conditions a little warmer. Getting close to that 42 degree mark again this evening, now that the sun is going down and we're getting some cooler, more northerly air, really cooling down the region. Only 41 degrees in Bainbridge right now. We're in for a pretty cold night ahead, guys, and the muggy meter, I wouldn't be too worried about it being muggy when it's this cold anyway. The dryness might actually make things worse by needing to, put that humidifier on maybe if you even want to. And with it being so dry, we're not seeing any showers really pop up on the radar. All these little greens, that's not rain. That's a lot of ground cover in the area. It is very dry out there. Don't let that deceive you. And as over the next 24 hours, we're going to wake up tomorrow pretty dry again, not seeing much in terms of cloud cover until around the evening hours, where we will see some more clouds come from a southerly direction, which will help to warm up temperatures a little bit. Notice for our marine forecast, 63 degrees out there, low UV index, but it's still a little too cold to be out on the water if you don't have to, in my opinion. And tonight, as I said, we're getting colder and almost at that freezing mark of 32 degrees, but conditions will be clear and dry. So it's going to be a pretty brisk cold tonight. Into the day tomorrow, we get a little warmer than we were today. Back up into the 60s, partly cloudy conditions. Enjoy your day tomorrow, because what's to come for the day after that, we'll have to stay tuned for that. But as we head into the later afternoon hours tomorrow, getting into the low to mid 60s before cooling off again around sunset, around a little after 6 p.m. actually now this time of year. Isn't it nice seeing the sun an extra 30 minutes now than what we're used to? But for the day tomorrow, as I said, enjoy it. 63 degrees, only a 20% chance of rain before the chance for severe weather does return for our day on Thursday. We're going to see some rain, guys, and some thunderstorms as well. High temperature there of 70 degrees before we cool off into the weekend and dry off before our rain chances return and the weather warms back up for early next week. Tyler, look at that forecast. What do you think about that?
Thanks, Riley. Really looking a lot better than it did last week. Looking at this 1 week forecast, Saturday and Sunday, looking pretty sunny, so finally going to get a sunny weekend. Unfortunately, on Thursday, it looks like we're going to have some storms move back to the region. But Thursday and Friday, going to see some rainy, stormy conditions possibly. Not going to see much sunshine, but at least the weekend will be a little bit better. And tomorrow, going to still see the sun out. So pretty welcome change considering how many cloudy and foggy days we've had here in Tallahassee lately. Just some variation in the pattern is much needed. And once we get to Monday, you're going to see the rain chances pick back up to 40%. But once you get to Tuesday, sunny skies once again. You're going to have a high of 67. So we're starting to cool down a little bit compared to where we were. But we're starting to get towards the end of winter and getting closer to spring. So expect here in Tallahassee to get things to start warming up. Still going to see plenty of 50s and 60s over the next couple weeks, but don't be surprised to start seeing us get into the 70s and maybe even cracking 80 once we start to get into March. At least that's what I'm hoping for. I love the summer and the sunny skies here in Tallahassee, but be sure to follow us on all our social media. That includes Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram as well, but also watch live on YouTube at youtube.com/FSU Weather. We're live Monday through Friday at 6 p.m., and then there's our Instagram right there. And I just want to give a shout out to the people behind the scenes that have been helping us out, Christian Lorenz on the tech, and then our producers, Maddie Seiler and David Stoltz. Don't usually get enough love because they're not on screen on Tuesdays, but I'd like to give a shout out to them as well. But that's all we have for you guys tonight. I'm meteorologist Tyler Sherrod. Hope everyone has a safe and fantastic night.